That was a bit of a schmozzle, but I finally got some brake pads for M2. I got some Project Mu Club racers for the front and some HC Plus for the rear. I've run these on different Evos and stuff. They've been a great pad, and a lot of guys run them for various time attack events. And yeah, let's get into it, because a Brembo pad install should be pretty quick. And of course, we just did a bleed, but these pads are almost new. This car's only got 10,000 K, so I shouldn't have to remove too much, if any, fluid from the reservoir, but we'll just get ready to have it overflow just in case, and we'll pop the bonnet. Okay, I've just loosened the cap and taken that panel off now. If you want to see the video on bleeding the brakes, you can probably find a link in the description, and at the end of this I'll have a little one you can click, go to see. But that's it. That should be loose enough to push any pads back and catch any drips. So these brakes, like most Brembos, are pretty easy. So there's a few other videos we've done, had Brembos on our Alfa Romeo and on our Porsche Boxster. And what you need is a punch, something to hit it with. We're just going to use our breaker bar, and we got to punch out the retaining pins, and then you've got a spring-loaded clip that you probably want to get the pressure off as well. So we'll start tapping the pins out. Doesn't take much to get them moving. I mean, you can do this with a nail or a really fine screwdriver if you had to. Okay, because they're just held in with a little bit of a pressure bit there. So we're going to take the load off them, and then they pull right out the back. There we go, see? So you take the load off the spring just by pushing on it, and of course it'll follow it there. We'll remove this slowly, because I don't think there's a top and bottom. No. And now if yours is really, you got a lot of K's on it, your pads are old, you'll want to give this a bit of a clean. So give it a clean if you need to. Same with your pins. These ones are fine. I'll give them a wipe with some paper towel, but you just want to clean them up. It's nice to have things clean to work on. All right, now that those are there, now we're just going to grab these little anti-vibration things on the top and bottom. Makes it easy because you can kind of grab them, give them a wiggle, and that's it. That's enough room to get the pad to come right out. Now see if there's a top and bottom to these. There is a notch towards the top, so we'll just see if the new pads have the same thing. They've got a left L and an R there, which is kind of odd, but anyway, I'm going to take these out, and then this pad has your sensor for the brake pad wear. So I'm going to get some pliers or a little flathead screwdriver, and I'll pop that off. Okay, that pad loose. Just pop it out. Now on the back is where we've got this cable that goes to just a little clip in the brake. There we go. So it gives us a bit of room. Have a quick look at this. How do we get this off? I've got some needle nose pliers that I'm wondering if that should be just enough to give it a grab and a squeeze. I don't want to break it. It's just a little plastic clip. Maybe we'll get it loose with the screwdriver first, or a pick will do this. There we go. That's it. Just a wiggle and it's out. Now there's a bit of pad grease on the back here. I can't tell, not really, but there we go. So these are the factory M Brembos. They probably would have been fine for some light. They would have been fine for some light track use, but for what we're doing, we need something a little bit better at high temperatures. So we'll keep those aside though, because we might be, using those when we sell the car or something similar. All right, we'll start with the inside pad. That's going to have the sensor on it. There's a notch for it, so we'll reattach the pad wear sensor to there. It should just be a matter of just pushing it in and clipping it in, like so. There's a bump that goes to the inside, and that's what makes the contact and causes the sensor to go off. So you want that to go to the inside, and we'll just push that down. Wiggle it down. Come on. Don't want to break it, but we want to get it in there. And its little notch. Okay, and then we're just going to slide that pad in. So we didn't really have to push back the pistons too much, because we said these are almost new pads and there's lots of room. Okay, and we just pushed the pad wear sensor holder back on, and put that pad in place. We'll get the other one, pad number 2. So this is a quick, easy job to do yourself. Workshops can charge a fortune for this, but there we go. Slide that into place. Now we kind of want to line up the holes a little bit. It's going to make putting the pins back in a little easier. And we'll start with the bottom pin. I always find that easy because then it's easy to put the metal, that kind of anti-rattle clip into place. So pointy end goes in the hole. What we're going to do, actually, I think I'm going to put a little bit of the, I got some of this caliper pin grease. It's more for like more single piston calipers, but I'll just put a little bit on here. Whether it does anything, I don't know, but it's on, it's done. Just rub smear it around. Probably just a magnet for brake dust anyway, but anyway, whatever. Put it on. Greased. Okay, now we don't want to touch the rotor or any pad face with the when we got grease. Actually, just double check. Yeah, I got the material of the pad on the rotor. So yeah, I've seen a few guys are like, oops, put that pad in backwards. You don't want to do that. Okay, that one's in. Tap it in position. I'll just use the handle. I like it because it's got the rubber on it, so you can kind of give it a few good whacks and not have to worry about damaging too much the paint or anything. So I'm not getting my head in here. See it? And I'm going to use this. Hold that over top. Okay, that pin is in position. Now we're going to take the spring anti-rattle clip. There's little kind of tabs that have to go under the pin. Come on. Come on. Get in there. Okay, is that through? So that's in position, and it's just held in now with some force. So we'll get the other pin ready. Bend that down. Go through. Come on. Come on, go in your home. Gotta go through to the home. Okay, so it's just gonna need a little bit of wiggling to get that started in the hole. And after then we can whack it a bit and get it right in there because it's just got some tension. It doesn't, I just can't see it from my angle. You'll be able to see it because you're not trying to film anything. Here we go. So what I have to do is I got to push on this at the same time as kind of getting that in its rightful spot, which it pretty much is. I can move the pad and I can see the pin coming through the bottom of the hole there on the pad. Just need to get it in the right spot. Come on. I can see in the hole. Oh. Can see in the hole, so it's just kind of lined up. So I just can't quite push it in. It's going to need a good whack with a hammer. So it's hammer time. Right, everyone's got a persuader. That's mine, and we'll persuade that pin to go in. Careful not to smash your fingers, and of course you don't want to smack up your calipers. So you're trying to want to get a good sight. Yes, there we go. That's in, and we'll double tap the bottom one. Put the you don't want to try to send it through because obviously it won't. But there's a firm point where it kind of goes, and then I don't know if you can hear that tone. It was going soft, 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 and then kind of went stopped. that's it. All you got to do now is all the other pads, and then you want to push on the pedal to get it firm. So if you did have to pull it back a lot, you didn't overflow the fluid. You got to top it up if you need be, or clean up your mess. But that's it. That's the front pads done on an M2. I think it's the same for a lot of other F body cars. Yeah, Project Me brakes and ready to roll. Now I'm gonna ask you for a favor. It's not a big one, but to justify me doing these car videos to the missus, can you please just like the video? I mean, you don't need to subscribe, that's fine. But if you found it useful, remotely entertaining, just somewhat interesting, just hit the like button, and I can justify my existence and my time and money spent on toys to the missus. That's it. Now back to the show. Now, if you saw how fast we did the front pads, now it's time to do the rear. So I got my rear replacement pads here. Some Project Mu HC Plus. They're not a big pad compared to the caliper. It's actually quite surprising, but it's only a double piston, so not much. But we do have the same kind of setup with pins to knock out and the retaining clip there, anti-rattle clip. So let's get started. Tools required. You're going to need a punch of some kind, or a nail with a blunt end, a hammer to smack it with. You don't have to use a hammer, you can use something else a bit softer. I use a little bit of caliper grease, slide grease on the rods, just to keep them moving. Paper towel, clean my grubbiness. Gloves, I'm going to get brake dust all over your hands. And you'll want to open the cap of the fluid reservoir, particularly if you've got really low pads and you need to replace them, because you can push the caliper back quite a bit and it's going to displace a lot of fluid. So there's a good chance it's going to overflow, so you might want to either take some fluid out, or you can just have some towels there, but I would take some fluid out if you got a lot of piston to push back. Okay, let's get started. All right, we'll start by knocking the top pin out, I think. Doesn't really matter, but I'll just do the top one. You want to be careful you don't have it slip off here and go straight into your nice shiny caliper paint, but it is what it is. There we go. It's past the end of the hole, so that's it. And now we'll do the bottom. That's why I say if you use a nail, you want to use one that's kind of flat on the end, or use a small head of the nail to do that, because you don't want to be missing too much. All right, now have a look at this. We'll pull that out, but we're gonna have to take the pressure off here. Now, I always find that taking the pressure off these things is pretty easy. Usually you just do it with your finger, your thumb, or whatever you want, something to poke it with. Never found you really need to use a tool for it, but sometimes it helps to align it later. So we're just gonna put some pressure on that. Come on. Oh, we'll try the bottom. Yeah, I can push the bottom a little better. Once you get one out, the other one comes straight out. Okay, come on. I just moved it a bit there. The fronts are a bit more room to, a bit more of that pin, the clip to push on. This one's pretty limited. It's trying to do my fingertips. There we go, that's out. Okay, now see if there's any orientation to this. No, looks the same. If yours is really dirty, give it a clean. We'll give it a little wipe, and then same with your pins. You want to give it a clean if they're really dirty, and I'm going to use some of that slide grease just to keep it all lubed up. So just paper towel's fine. If it's an older car, it's all rusty. If you're watching this in 2028 and it's you know, a classic car, yeah, you might want to get new pins. They're cheap. Just get a set. But this car is pretty new with low Ks, and we're just going to give everything a clean. So this doesn't need too much cleaning, but sometimes it's really bad. You need a wire brush on it. Not in this case. Paper towel does it just fine. let's push these pads back. All right, so we're just gonna gently give them a wiggle, so they shouldn't need too much. If you have a big lip on your rotor, you might need more, but it's nice these ones because I got these vibration rattle things to keep it from rattling, but you can always grab hold of it too, so that's all right. I think we just moved it, and there we go. We just want to pull it out. That's it. Here she comes. That's it. That's the factory Brembo rear pad. And the other side. There we go. Old pads are out. Getting the impression this is a pretty easy job. You don't really need to pay someone to do it. Yep. I hope so. Because it's an easy job. You don't need to pay someone to do it. Okay, important. See that? That's the pad material. Don't get it all greasy. But that goes facing, touching the rotor. Same with this side. In she goes. Now we kind of want to line up the bottom hole that we're aiming for, that the pin's going to go through. These little cutouts on the other side, you're going to have and you'll see it if you watch the front brake video, that's a little cutout for the pad wear sensor. So not on this corner. This is the left-hand corner on this car. This is the passenger side in Australia. So we're not going, it's not there. So we'll get so this is an optional thing. You don't really need to do this, but just keep it all lubed up and sliding around. Just put a little smear on one, and then that'll be enough to use your finger to smear on the other one too. Come on, just do like less than you'd use toothpaste. All right, wipe it on. Grab the other one, wipe it on. If you want, you can wipe it in the little grooves where it's going to sit on here, but not real necessary. Okay, put the pins in time. So just give your hands a wipe because you don't want them greasy. You can make it a bit harder. Now, let's do the bottom one first. Kind of self-aligns a little bit. There we go. Well, we don't even need that in there right now because that will just pop in a second. Okay, that's there. We'll give it a little tap to secure it in place, but we're going to tap it a little bit in a second here with the punch on it. That's just so it doesn't fall out now. All right, grab the clip. Now we've got to put pressure on this again, so get ready with those fingertips. I'm going to line that up. So let's just do a clipless trial. Yeah, okay, so it's all lined. Now we got to get that bent far enough that that's it. And should be pretty close to being aligned, but we'll get ready to tap it as we push it in. I'm kind of look down the hole. That's it. So what I looked for there, I looked for it just getting started. See, that's the tip of it there. So it's just started, and that's enough to tap it. All right, so we're all in position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our punch, put that back on the pin. Carefully, you don't want to, again, you don't want it to slip off and smash your caliper, but that's it. Gets to a point where it kind of stops, but you don't need to really wail on it. Like I'm just tapping. And there's a definite change in tone. I'll just double check that one. There you go. That's your rear pads. Done. Easy DIY. Well, I just got back from bedding in the brakes. So I went out, did a couple hard stops from 50, and then I did 2 hard stops from 80. And that should be enough to bed them in. But if you want, now here's something you need to do without starting the car, but turning this part on. If you wanted to reset the brake pad thing, here's how to do it. Hold this down. Now, without starting the car, you hold this down. I think it's like 10 seconds. Where is it? I just did this for the fluid, and I did this for an oil change, and a whole bunch of stuff. So, come on, where are you? Hold it down. I'm not holding it down properly. Here we go. There we go. Vehicle check. Reset not possible because I've already reset it. We're going to go through stuff. You go through brake fluid if you've done that. Engine oil, I just did that. Front brake pads, reset not possible. But if you were to, so then you'd hold the button down again, and it'll say reset, and you push it again and keep holding it, and it'll reset. And then you do the same for the rears. Yeah, I've done all my stuff, so this is up-to-date service. But that's how you reset it, and that's how you do your brake pads. And don't forget, you know, we've got that video on doing the brake fluid and putting on Porsche GT3 brake ducts if you want some extra cooling. So worth having a look at those vids.